Hey, happy Friday! Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm back once again. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Tonight is April 12th, 2019. It is Friday. It is episode 282 of The Daily Dope. So welcome aboard. Very casual show if this is your first time tuning in. This is a live stream. Just kickbacks, talk usually about tabletop gaming, usually share some news, do an unboxing, do a review, hobby stuff. So tonight I am going to be unboxing and paging through all the goodies in the Starfinder Beginner Box from Paizo Inc. So that is what is in store for us tonight. Do want to point out that this is a live stream, so chat is available on YouTube. It is not on screen, but if you do want to say hello, or you have a question, or maybe there's something about the Starfinder Beginner Box you want to get a closer peek at, by all means, chime in. I will respond. I don't have it on screen because it's one of the ways to keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. So do want to point out that if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you check out some of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel and you like them, by all means subscribe and ring that little bell, because that will not only let you know when there is a new video out, it will also notify you when the stream goes live within about 5 minutes or so. So also, by all means, please tell a friend about the Gaming Gang channel as well as the gaminggang.com. I know the website's awfully popular. I don't think enough people know about the channel here on YouTube. But anyway, so it's Friday night. I am pumped. I am excited to take a look at the Starfinder Beginner Box. Pretty cool. I am going to be seeing the second edition of Pathfinder, all those goodies that are going to be coming out in the first wave of releases. I've talked to the PR rep over at Paizo, and I'm on board for those. So that's going to be pretty cool. I am pretty excited to take a peek at that. So no tabletop gaming news tonight, because I want to get into the unboxing. It's Friday. I've got some stuff cooking after the show. So I figured there wasn't anything really super exciting news-wise, so nothing that can't wait until Monday. But before I do jump into the unboxing, I do want to point out that if you are a fan of the Daily Dope as well as the gaminggang.com, you already know that it is a non-profit endeavor. So if you happen to like what I do, by all means, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Yes, the Lil Bub's Big Fund actually provides grant monies to special needs animals who are awaiting adoption. So, who better than to hear from Lil Bub herself about the mission of the ASPCA?
Hi, Bub. Nice to meet you. I'm Joey. I work at the ASPCA Adoption Center. It's nice to meet our first ever cat executive officer. Can I show you around? Let's go. So, Bub, This is our main cat area where we can have up to 300 cats at any given time. They live in these nice cat condos where they can play, jump, and be comfortable until they go home. Sorry, Bub, we don't have any dinosaurs. And this is where we keep our adoptable dogs. This is one of my favorite dogs, Duchess. She came to us through the NYPD, and we believe that she was abandoned. Bub, that's not how it works. Adopters have to come in and fill out an application. Bub, you might be better in the office.
Oh, of course, clicking there is not going to take you to the ASPCA website. But once again, always recommend to, if you like the show, if you dig the website, just make a small donation. And of course, if you do, my email address is right there in the bottom corner. Just shoot me a quick email. Let me know. Don't have to prove it or anything like that. But if you do make a donation to Lil Bub's Big Fun, let me know, and I will give you a special shout out on the following show. All right, so I am sure you're tuning in to check out the Starfinder Beginner Box, which is from Paizo Inc. It's for 2 to 7 players. So I guess if you got 8 players, you can't play that. No, that's not the case. It's for ages 13 and up. Plays in about an hour or more, because come on. It's a role-playing game, everybody. And it does carry an MSRP of $39.99. Let's move on over to the other camera here, because I've got the beginner box right here. So, I have it zoomed out a little bit because I'm assuming that we are going to have some books inside that we're going to be taking a peek at. So, so as opposed to zooming back in and out and in and out and in and out, at least we'll kind of have it kind of at this zoom level right here, and that way everything's going to stay in focus. We won't see changes in focus. So this is the beginner box itself. It's good size. It's the size of your traditional role-playing game books. What is that? 11 by 8.5. Hey, Viper Dave's popping in. Howdy, Viper Dave. Good to see you. I thought chat was going to be pretty quiet tonight, seeing that it's Friday. Chat's usually fairly quiet on Fridays. I think there have been some Friday shows where I don't think I had anybody hanging out in chat. So thanks for popping in there, Viper Dave. Let's get rid of this shrink wrap here, and we will take a look to see what we've got on the back of the box. I did review the core book for Starfinder when it came out. Well, a few months after it came out, because actually my best friend Elliot Miller gave me a copy of it, of the core book for my birthday. So even knowing that I wasn't going to be running it, he knows I love just core books for RPGs. So it says, explore the galaxy. Launch into an exciting universe of science, fantasy, adventure with a Starfinder Beginner Box. Create and customize your own futuristic hero to play through challenging adventures and action-packed battles against dangerous foes. With streamlined rules, this deluxe box set is the ideal introduction to the Starfinder role-playing game, an imaginative tabletop role-playing game for 2 to 7 players. It can be for as many players as you want. So Viper Dave says no life here. Come on, you got a life. Well, you're tuning in. That's something. You got something to do, right? If you had absolutely no life, you'd just be kind of like sitting in a corner. Just kind of maybe, in a fetal position, rocking back and forth. Anyway, welcome to the best launchpad for a lifetime of pulse-pounding adventure among the stars. The only limit is your imagination. Starfinder Beginner Box has everything you need to get started. A 96-page hero's handbook detailing character creation and general rules for playing the game, plus a short solo adventure. A 96-page Game Master's Guide containing an adventure, alien adversaries, and advice on how to create your own science fantasy tales. A complete set of 7 polyhedral dice, more than 80 full-color pawns depicting diverse heroes and aliens. So yes, they are called pawns. We were talking about that last night. And I said I thought for Pathfinder they call them pawns, like the little standees. So I guess that is the case because it also says there's 24 plastic pawn bases, 6 pre-gen character sheets to throw you right into the action, 6 blank character sheets to record the abilities of your custom-made heroes, 6 player aid cards for quick rules references, and a durable, reusable, double-sided flip mat play surface that works with any kind of marker. Nice, pretty cool. As I mentioned, this does carry an MSRP of $39.99, but it looks like it's pretty packed with goodies. So let's get this opened up. So what have we got? So these are all the stands, obviously enough, for the pawns. Looks like we've got some big stuff. Looks like we may have some big monsters here, because that is we've got a couple of fairly large. Let's open them up. Why not? I say we've got a couple of we got three really large ones. Really large sandy bases. Then we got one that's yellow. I'm not sure what the yellow one represents. And then, of course, the rest are pretty much standard size. So, cool. So we've got, I believe it said there were 24 altogether. What is this? We got Munchkin card. All right, let me get... This is a little promo, no doubt, for Munchkin Pathfinder, I think it is, that they've got. Let's see what we've got here. Or maybe it's from the Munchkin collectible card game. No, you're the proud owner of promo cards for, Munchkin Starfinder and Munchkin Pathfinder. So we got a level 1 Space Goblin and a level 1 Hobbled Goblin. That's kind of funny. I know some people can't stand Munchkin, and yes, I have that love-hate relationship with Steve Jackson Games, which borders more on hate than love, usually nowadays. But Munchkin's fine. Munchkin's fun. It's a cool little waste of time. All right, so we got a full set of dice. Open this on up. Cool deal. Very nice. And they are cut. They're not painted on. I got to admit, I have never been a fan of the percentile die, where it's like 80, 20, 40. I just prefer a couple of 10-siders like that, and one color is high, the other is low. So that's how I kind of look at it. So there's our 7 dice. Plus, I never use the 6-sided die. So yeah, hey, thanks, Viper Dave. Have a great night. Yes, catch the show later on. So this is the 6-sider that I always discard because I like pips on my 6-sided dice. So cool. So you got a full set of dice here. So that's nice. Let me cover this back up here. Get that hobby knife out of the way. It says, before you go any further, read this page and help you get started with the Starfinder Beginner Box. So what is it? If you have a group, if you're on your own. It says, if you're on your own, Starfinder is designed for group play, but you can still experience an adventure on your own. Grab the Hero's Handbook and turn to page 2 to play the solo adventure, Scoundrels in the Spike, which will teach you the basics of the game. You could conceivably do that just right off the bat as well, just to learn how to run the game. So here we've got the player aid cards. So it's saying, what can I do on my turn? Move, take an action. Attack actions, melee attack, ranged attack, hinder your foe, support fire. You can use an item, use a skill, use a special ability, cast a spell, take an extra move, or defend. And it's talking about resting as well. And on the back here, it shows you what the conditions are for the characters. Flat-footed, frightened, hampered, helpless, impaired, off-kilter. Yes, that's usually me. I'm normally off-kilter. Staggered, and unconscious. So we've got 6 of these. I believe we got 6 character sheets. Well, that's what we had here, right? So I'm going to turn this way. So we've got the character sheets here, dual-sided. So we've got the ability scores, racial traits, which I'm kind of surprised they're still using that term. Everybody's kind of moved on to cultural traits. And I got to be honest, Starfinder just came out last Gen Con, wasn't it? I believe it was the last Gen Con. So we've got different skills, hit points, attacks, spells, equipment, an adventure log on the back as well, showing 0 level, 1st level, 2nd level for your spells. So because the beginner box is probably only going to take you up to a certain level, it's also showed it. That's kind of funny. Kind of shows you the silhouettes of the different kind of dice. So it's like, oh, so that's what the D10 is. So that'll let you know what the D10 is. That's what the D20 looks like. So we've got 6 of those. Then we got the Hero's Handbook. So this is kind of a player's guide to get players started with this. So let's page on through this. Let's move some of these things out of the way. Push that off there. And you know what? We will zoom in just a touch. There we go. So we've got how to create your character, choose your race, choose your theme, choose your class, generate your ability scores, record your ability modifiers, add up your resolve points, choose your alignment, choose your skills, choose your feats, choose your equipment, and finishing touches. So I gotta be honest, I've never been big on alignment. I don't mind alignments for NPCs and monsters and things like that. But as far as characters themselves, the players, I'm not a big fan of alignment because there are shades of gray. So, I mean, for an example, let's say Elric of Melna Bane. Michael Moorcock's famous Eternal Champion. If I remember correctly, in the first, I think it was Deities and Demigods, it had Elric of Melna Bane, and I want to say he was chaotic evil. And that's not really right. So, and I wouldn't say he's chaotic neutral or chaotic good either. So, that's one of the reasons why I was never a big fan of alignment. And I don't use it in my games. So, at least not for the player characters. So, Scoundrels in the Spike. This is the solo game, solo adventure for you to play. One of the things that I liked about the core book for Starfinder is the fact that Paizo could have just phoned it all in, just kind of done a Pathfinder in space, just ported a bunch of stuff over and left it at that, which I gotta say, to their credit, they did not do that. There's a lot of new material, a lot of new concepts in Starfinder. It's almost as if it was kind of a Pathfinder 1.5 sort of system to it. It's talking about getting started, basic concepts. There are a lot of new creatures, new cultures, things like that. It's not just a port of orcs and goblins in space. Although we did see the the goblin right there in the solo adventure here. An exclamation point means stop here. It's time to turn to another part of the book. It's talking about creating the character, building characters together. So it's going through the ability modifiers, resolve points, your alignment, explaining the different alignments, choosing your skills, choosing your feats, choosing your equipment, and putting your finishing touches on. So then we've got class suggestions. So we've got Envoy, Mechanic, Mystic, Operative, Soldier, Technomancer. Got the different races. So you can be Android, Human, Lashunta, Shirin, Vesk, Visaski. So as I was saying is, they could have just said, well, okay, so we got space halflings and space dwarves and space elves. No, they kind of, like I said, Paizo went the extra mile. So, talking about themes, talking about the themes for your character. One thing I have to always say is, because I'm a big old school Renaissance fan, um, that it's kind of like modern role playing games is your character, you build up this whole backstory to the character before you play. Whereas old school is like, you really don't have any backstory. You don't delve into a backstory. You just get into the game because your character is going to evolve based on the adventures, if they live that long. so, so we've got second level envoy, third level envoy, fourth level envoy. So we're basically looking at here that the beginner box is getting your player characters up to fourth level. So the envoy, use your personal magnetism and intelligence to help your allies or battle your enemies, often in the service of negotiation or politics. Then we got the mechanic. You're a bona fide master of machines, from advanced supercomputers to simple magnetic engines. Oh yes, because magnetic engines are just so simple. Once again, going to the fourth level. Then we've got the mystic. You understand that most magic is simply an expression of the connection between all things, and you tap into this power. Or Arthur C. Clarke said, science to, or to paraphrase, isn't it advanced science to, like savages or something like that would be considered magic? I know he didn't put it that way, but... So there we go. Now we've got different spells that are available to the mystic. Then we got the operative. You have the skills to complete almost any mission that requires stealth and discretion, from espionage and infiltration to high-profile robbery. So the operative's kind of like the thief. So I'm going to pick this back up again. Getting a little glare right in this spot here, so I want to kind of keep the glare down to a minimum. Even though I'm actually catching glare from where I'm reading. My glare, I'm getting a little bit of glare right here. So that's why I'm kind of like moving my head around when I'm trying to read that portion up there. Soldier, thoroughly familiar with weapons of war, you specialize in a particular fighting style and are ready to wreak havoc when force is called for. So you've got a fighting style. Then you've got your abilities as you level up. Then you've got your Technomancer. The use of advanced... Oh, you use your advanced understanding of the intersection of technology and magic to bend reality to suit your needs. And of course, we've got the different spells for the Technomancer. And then we go into the skills. So it says, return to page 17 to continue building your first level character. Stop! Stop right here. So it's going through the different skills. And of course, like most of the, like Pathfinder, like previous editions of D&D, there aren't tons and tons of skills. We're not talking like basic role-playing from Chaosium. So then you've got your feats as well. So we've got the feats. So we got the first level feats. Then we got some equipment. I always like when various different game books will show you, even if it's just a small image like this, I always like when they show you images of the different weapons and different armor, things like that. See, we've got the basic melee weapons, advanced melee weapons, small arms. Like I said, yeah, like, very cool. I always dig this, because then you can kind of, oh, okay, so a Red Star rifle compared to a disintegrator rifle. All right, so I got an idea of what those kind of look like. Granted, they're small images, but they at least give you an idea. They help build that storytelling floor for you to stand on. We got weapon fusions. Uh-oh. Sounds like Pinky's making her appearance. Coming down. All right, Pinky, relax. Seems like she comes down every night now for a little bit. just to make a little noise, grab something to eat. So now she's going over to grab something to eat. But she thinks I'm talking to her is basically what the whole story is. All right, so we've got playing the game. And once again, keep in mind that this is playing the game from the point of view of the players themselves as opposed to the game master. So it's talking about starships, combat, movement, actions. So it's talking about the different attacks, critical hits, melee attacks, ranged attacks, hindering your foe, supporting fire, choosing your targets, using an item, using a skill, using a special ability. All these things are on the player aid, which we've got the 6 of those. Casting a spell, so it's kind of giving you some information as far as spell slots, duration, effect, saving throws, injury, death, and healing. That's another thing with modern RPGs. Not as lethal, I guess we'll say. Hey, Vinyl Rabbit's popping in. So very cool. Howdy, Vinyl Rabbit. Good to see you. I looked at that book today. Not sure. Oh, are we talking about the Hero's Handbook? Are we talking about the Beginner Box for Starfinder? Or are we talking about something else, Vinyl? Or VR, I guess I could say. So that's showing us the conditions, which are also on the other side of the player aid there. And then we got an extended example of play. Talking about leveling up. Modern RPGs handhold too much. All depends on how you run it. I've said this time and time again that you can have the worst role-playing game but an excellent game master, and it's just, a fantastic experience. And then you could have the best game system possible, which, doesn't exist. Hang on. Pinky, enough! For crying out loud. It's like unbelievable. But you can have, a fantastic system and you have a terrible game master, and it's horrible. So yes, the Starfinder core book is what Vinyl was looking through. There we go. All right, so beyond 4th level. That's when you're going to start busting out the core book that Vinyl's talking about. Talking about a little bit about the galaxy. Here's some inspirations. So it's almost like your Appendix N from the old days. We got a glossary here as well. And talking about the open game license. And then on the back, we get a little combat reference guide. So that is, I believe it's 98 pages was for the Hero's Handbook. Next in the box, we have the pre-gens, it looks like. So let's get these pre-gens. So these are so the players can jump right on in to the game. So we've got the Envoy. Let's take a look in the Envoy here, just like so. Choose the Envoy if you'd like to be a charismatic people person, make friends and intimidate foes, inspire your allies, and undermine your enemies. So we've got the character sheet, and kind of just explains all the different aspects of the character sheet itself. And then it talks, gives us a little background on the character. So that is the Envoy. Then we've got the Mystic. Choose a Mystic if you'd like to heal and help your friends, sling psychic bolts and telekinetic projectiles, use and detect magic, and communicate telepathically. So, got these once again. And giving us a little background on the character. So really, once again, with they call them abilities, but usually everybody else refers to them as attributes. You've got your scores, and then you've got your modifiers, and usually you're just really paying attention to the bonuses, the modifiers that you've got. Okay, so that's the Mystic. We got the Operative. Choose the Operative if you like to use a stealthy approach, trick your foes to deal more damage, excel at a variety of skills, and be both a person and a machine. Oh, so you get to be a Borg. Sweet. All right. Okay. Nah, I'm just kidding. All right. So we've got that character sheet, a little bit of background. We got the mechanic. Choose the mechanic if you'd like to build and modify machinery, have the right tool for any job, have the cybernetic processor implanted in your brain, and hide objects in your cheek pouches. I don't think that goes for every mechanic. I think it's just going for the mechanic that's of this character race. Okay, now we get a little bit about Queeg. Then we got the soldier. Choose the soldier if you like to be the strongest and the toughest, use the biggest weapons, wear the best armor, excel in melee and ranged combat. And I should point out, not have to worry about spell slots and things like that. Vinyl Rabbit says, so far all these characters seem a bit wimpy to me. Yeah, well, come on, it's the beginner box. What do you expect? So we've got the soldier there, and then we've got the Technomancer. So choose the Technomancer if you'd like to blend magic and technology, wield magic to blast your enemies, use technology to power your magic, and read minds and communicate telepathically. So there's the character sheet there, and then about Raya. I think that's what I would guess. Raya is something like that. So those are the pre-gens, which I am never a fan of pre-gens, but if you're running something, and got a new group that you've never played with and stuff like that, then yeah, maybe you want to bust out the pre-gens. So then we got the Game Master's Guide. Let me grab a quick sip here. I'm gonna move these over and move this box over a little bit so we can kind of focus more on the Game Master's Guide. So we also have a combat reference guide on the back of this book too. So one for the Game Master and one for the players. So Steel Talon's Lair. So we know that we've got an adventure in here. And it's entitled Steel Talon's Lair. Bingo. So is the map... No, okay. I was going to say, is the map for the adventure going to be on both sides of the cover? But it's not. All right, so we got the adventure. And of course, it's for Game Masters only. Here we go, the read-alouds, which I don't really do any read-alouds when I'm doing a pre-published adventure. Wasn't it Wizards of the Coast? Wizards of the Coast released, I don't know if it was like for public consumption or what. I think it was more along the lines, it was for people who were going to be running Dungeons and Dragons at conventions and that, and they said that more than 3 sentences of read aloud usually makes people tune out. So if you had read aloud in your modules that you expected people to read out loud, do not go more than 3 sentences because the players will just tune it all out. And I believe that. So we've got a bit of the adventure. We got some goblins in it, some space goblins. It's a pirate hideout. Reactor room, hunting grounds, fluid leaks. So we got some oddball, kind of like tigerish creature, one-eyed tigerish, I should say, creature. There we go, combat. Another thing with modern games tend to have way more combat in them than old school, which people would think old school games would have a lot more combat, but because there was no balancing of encounters and things like that in old school games, a lot of times as a player, your characters were going up against things that there was no way you were going to be able to tackle, so you had to figure out ways to get around it. Nowadays, you see a lot more combat. So Vinyl Rabbit says, I love the Pathfinder goblins. I do too. I get a kick out of them too. In fact, I was messing around. I was using a Pathfinder adventure to kind of introduce my nephew and his friends to fantasy role-playing games, but I was not using Pathfinder rules. And I had goblins in it, and I was using the Pathfinder style goblin, not the D&D style goblin. And it was funny because I kept they're fighting these goblins, and goblins keep calling everybody Longshanks. Longshanks! Just like I kept making the goblin song like this. And everybody was just having a blast. Even Elliot Miller, my best friend who has been role playing for decades, was just having the time of his life. So preparing for a session. Talking about rewards, treasure, experience points. Talking about building an adventure, lurking in the deathless level. So it's talking about adventure creation, how to draw maps, adventure hooks and storylines, designing encounters. See, this is where we start getting into the whole, you got to balance the encounters out for the level, things like that. So even right here, encounter difficulty, challenge ratings, XP budgets. One of the reasons why newer games have more combat is that, especially when you're looking at like published adventures or published campaigns, you have all these combat encounters and like the random encounters and things like that. They're all plugged in there to provide the experience points for your players to level their characters up at a relatively steady pace. So we got adventures and campaigns, environment, astronomical objects. So old school kind of games were, your experience points were normally gained from treasure, and a lot there's some kind of house rules that some people would use that, well, you only got the experience for the treasure if you spent it, if you were spending it, and that's one of the reasons why you're an adventurer, because you're like Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser are almost always broke. They'll have riches one minute and be broke the next. They'll have found something that's just incredibly valuable in one story, and then the next story starts off and they're down on their luck again. So this is kind of getting more into detail about different terrains, structures and materials, traps, computers, Absalom Station. Talking about the galaxy now and the packed worlds. So we get a little more detail about this than the players did in their guide. Yes, living from paycheck to paycheck. That's how a lot of fantasy adventurers tend to operate. Now, and I am not a proponent of murder hobos either. But I do like to, I like my player characters to tend to be kind of in need of adventuring to make ends meet. So we've got organizations and threats, faith and religion, alien adversaries. So I think we're going to get a little bit of a bestiary here. Yep, there we go. Cool. And this is, once again, this is one of these areas where I thought Paizo went out of their way to actually create new stuff, new creatures, new races for Starfinder, as opposed to just saying, okay, here's your space dwarfs. Here's your space elves. That's what you get. Evil soldier. That could be any number of things. And chaotic evil, because if you're an evil soldier, you gotta be chaotic evil. I don't know. You could be an evil soldier who's just a cog in the machine. Wouldn't that make you lawful evil? Gang toughs. A little gray alien. There you go. Straight from Close Encounters. Living hologram. There's actually quite a lot of these, and I gotta be honest, it's like usually Starfinder, or I should say Pathfinder, because I gotta be honest, I've only seen the core book up until now for Starfinder, and I've run across a few things about Pathfinder, but I'm kind of surprised, because usually their stat blocks are really like detailed and a lot of stuff, and pages long. Here they're like squeezing a couple of adversaries on each page. So that's cool. Space Goblin Honcho Head. And a Space Goblin Zapperator. Alright, and then we got creature creation and stats by challenge rating. Random encounters, alien planets, cities. Looks like random encounters for cities and alien planets. And if we're just in space and in the wilderness, where to go from here? Well, just like Pathfinder, Starfinder has their monthly releases as well. So you've got your adventure paths. You got a new one that comes out every month. So they started off where they were 3-part adventure arcs, and I think the most recent one went 6, like the Pathfinder adventures do. Okay, so here is the flip mat, which I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever seen one of the Paizo flip mats. So this is actually a pretty good size. So this is the one side is for the adventure that was in the Game Master's Guide. So I'm going to kind of back out so we kind of see this. So this was the map for the adventure. So it's not a big adventure. Not a big long adventure. I'll kind of show off the rest of it down here. And you can use markers and wipe those off. And then on the back here, it's just plain squares. Just plain like so. So that's cool. Now, the one thing that kind of throws me a little bit is if you're going to use the flip map for the adventure, isn't that just kind of giving away the whole layout of the adventure? Like the whole dungeon map, kind of? I don't know. Unless you're like covering stuff up and revealing them as you go. All right, next we've got the pawns. So, I think there were 80 pawns. So we've got, some of them don't look centered all that well, but look like they're a little high up there. But then again, you have to keep in mind, you got the little piece of plastic as far as the base. You gotta slip them into too. So we've got the space goblins here, security guards, security robots. Got a robot dragon. So that's one of the bigger ones. So we've got that. Then we've got Aeon Guard, Bone Trooper, Contemplative, like the floating brain, Cybernetic Zombie. So some of these we get a couple. There's a Drow. There's an Evil Operative, Evil Soldier, Evil Technomancer, the Gang Toughs. And then we've got a Zarek, is the bigger monster there. And then we've got one more punch board. And looks like these are the pre-gens. Up here, these top 6, these are the pre-gens. And then we kind of have just based on your race. So we've got android, we've got human, Lashunta, Shirin, Vesk, and Saki. I don't know. They're like little mice creatures. Or I shouldn't say little, they're like anthropomorphic mice creatures. So, what do we got left in here? We've got Starfinder Society ad. So that is, come on you, come on out. There we go. So, then we have join the Starfinder Society today. Play anywhere. And talking about the core book, Pack Worlds, and the Alien Archive. I thought there was a second Alien Archive that had came out. I'm not positive. So I'm not a big fan of bleeding the artwork beyond the cutout. Yeah, me either. I'll be very honest. I'm not a huge fan of that either. But it seems like, I guess, Paizo's approach is that the pawns are going to be a certain size, and that's just how it's going to be. So I don't know. So there you have it. So we've got 3 punch boards of the pawns. We've got the really big flip mat here, which gotta say, you've got the side that's just the squares too, so that comes in really handy. So we've got that. We've got the 6 pre-gens, as well as we've got 6 character sheets. We've got the Game Master's Guide. We've got the Hero's Handbook. We've got the 6 player aid cards, and our set of dice, and 24 plastic standees for the pawns. And that is what we find when we take everything from the Starfinder Beginner Box outside the box. So, once again, as I mentioned, this is available now. This is pretty new. This has just been coming out. It is for 2 to 7 players, ages 13 and up, and it carries an MSRP of $39.99, which, I have to be honest, from taking a peek to see what's packed into this box, that's a pretty good deal. Because a lot of times, even a soft cover, now granted, they won't be 98 pages. Usually you're looking a couple hundred pages. Even a soft cover supplement is going to be about $40. So, not too shabby. You got a couple of adventures. One is kind of a solitary adventure, but I'm sure you can kind of port that over if you're a fairly experienced game master. But pretty cool. So I will actually have a review of the Pathfinder Beginner Box probably within the next couple of weeks. Probably no longer than that. Anyway, so that is it for today's show. A little quicker show than usual. Once again, like I said, it's Friday night. Kind of have a couple of things cooking right after the show that I'm going to be taking care of. So anyway, as I like to point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to go visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Come on, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. On Monday, I will be unboxing and taking a first look at Tiny Towns from Alderac Entertainment Group, my friends over at AEG. So, this is kind of a town construction game. So I will be taking a first look at that. And then I've got some other stuff cooking. Yeah, I forgot. I did not go through what I had planned for next week's shows. So this is Monday. Tuesday, I will be reviewing Kanban Drivers Edition from Stronghold Games. Wednesday, I am going to be reviewing Ghost Front, which is the expansion for Old School Tactical Volume 2. It is the Bulge expansion, basically, from Flying Pig Games. And then on Thursday, I'll have some sort of RPG cooking. Maybe we'll take a look at Cyberpunk 2.0.2.0 points, which used to just be called Cyberpunk 2020. Anyway, all right, Vinyl Rabbit, thank you very much for popping in chat. And, of course, everyone out there who's watching after the fact, I appreciate it as well. So, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. I'll be back on Monday. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.